Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Weekend Winners in association with BetVictor as we look ahead to the pick of the action from Newbury of all races live on Sky Sports Racing. But we might be heading to some other tracks, including Market Rasen, for our best bets of the weekend at the end of the show. Being joined, as you can see, by Sam Boswell and Declan Rix. We are not worthy. Where is your crown, sir? Congratulations. What a shout. You can dine on that for basically the rest of your punting life, I think.
I'm allowed, was it 65 losers in a row now? Anyone can say anything. Yeah, magic day, absolutely mental. You know, I thought she was, like, if she ran fourth at that price, I would have been absolutely delighted, but to get the lot now is mental. I was running around the living room like an absolute madman on Saturday doing my best Ric Flair impression. So, yeah, it's just fair play to Richard Hughes. And what a great story as well of how Neil Callan got the ride. Courtesy of our own Mick Fitzgerald played his part as well. So, yeah, it was cool. And I was only saying last week how strong the sprinting division is.
Exactly. After absolutely ripping through the rest of the field so beautifully as well, it came good then. You were actually very modest and very humble, I feel, about it. Sam, if that was me, I wouldn't have just been sounding a trumpet. It would have been a whole brass band that I would have been sounding. So thank God it wasn't me.
Yeah, biggest ever priced winner on the show. If it was me, we'd need to knock the studio door down to get my head through the door. So well done, Rixie, and more of the same, please.
Sure, what's rare is wonderful, lads. So we'll see how we go this week.
A Ric Flair impression would also be advisable. So hopefully we will get more winners then from Rixie this week. Something potentially to match last weekend with no half measures would be quite some feat. But of course, before we get into the action properly, a reminder as ever to please do gamble responsibly. Our tips are not guaranteed to win, but we will still do our best to point you in the right direction. Right, on with the action. Much anticipated now, of course, as well at Newbury. The 150. This is the listed BetVictor Steventon Stakes. 3-year-olds and over 10 furlongs. Just the 8 runners here. So, yeah, I'm sure we're BetVictor happy to see one or two come out here, Sam.
Yeah, well, I think if you are looking to play each way, just to give a heads up that a certain lad, his trainer was interviewed on Sky Sports Racing earlier in the week and did suggest that they'd want to see some rain before Declan panics about the rain. I think that is subsiding. We're not going to be too worried about it. I think they put 10 mils on Thursday. This race in particular looks a difficult starter, I thought, for punters out there. I must say, I thought if we do get all 8 going to post, it's curious, isn't it? You've got a favourite in there. Older horses have got a good record in the race. I can understand why that horse has been installed at 5-2. Achievey's a really curious runner because obviously had a long time off the track, returned in April with a fair effort to finish 4th on the all-weather, but hasn't been seen since, which would be a little bit of a concern for me. Ancient Wisdom's been gelded since we saw that horse at Epsom and has a bit of an in-and-out profile. So I actually got as far as Rashabar and started to like Rashabar more and more the more I looked at it. I thought the 3-year-old getting the allowances, obviously just touched off here going back to the start of the season, then finishing 4th twice in the last couple of runs, including one at Royal Ascot in really good company. The step up in trip is going to be the question mark. Had a little look through Rashabar's page and I thought it was interesting. The dam's by Camelot, so there's a bit of hope there. And if you look at the sire, in and around a mile's fine. This trip is going to start asking a few question marks of him, but I just have a feeling that a step up in trip in this kind of company would be within the compass of the horse, as long as we get that decent ground, which I think the rain's not going to affect it too much, I hope, looking at the radar this morning. So we'll see, won't we? I've got to take my chance. I mean, listen, you've got an absolutely exceptional racehorse here in first, and you almost have to ignore that. Plugs on here and finishes 4th. I think a little bit further will suit. I think he can get away with it. 9-2 is about the sort of price I'd want to take. Any shorter, I'd start questioning it. But I'm coming around more and more to Rashabar.
Yeah, I'm with you. Rashabar here as well. I thought 92 was a very fair price, actually. I really respect the favourite Nth Jar in here at 5-2, but Rashabar for me as well, because if he is going to win another race anytime soon, this is going to be the one, isn't it? We know those big prize places that he's managed to gather throughout his career, but if he is actually going to get back to winning ways, it's going to be enlisted company, I thought. And we know what a talented horse he is on his day. Also getting a £9 weight for age allowance as well, which I know for all I preach regularly that it's there for a reason. However, it's almost like you could use that sliding scale, really, isn't it? Because at this time of year, for these 3-year-olds to their elders, it's so minimal, the physical difference.
He's a 3-year-old as well.
Yeah.
Like, look at what he's been contesting. It's not like he's sort of lightly raced. You know, this year he's been busy enough.
And physically, he's the type of horse who I don't think maybe needs weight for age, because I think I remember just going back to my notes, I think he's over 520 kgs. So he's always been a big, strong horse anyway. So that's what it is, weight for age, isn't it?
Where'd you get that from? Where'd you get that info from?
I don't know. Some of my notes on horses are very in-depth and then some are useless. But this one burns out, I think.
Clearly not, though, of late. But yeah, Rashabar, hopefully, with the pedigree as well. I know this is first go over 10 furlongs, but the pedigree suggests that he should be getting it. And as we were just looking back there, the VT of him at Royal Ascot, yes, he gets that bump from the eventual second. But even though he got into that bit of a tussle there, he was still staying on well enough at the line. So I think it's well worth exploring. And in a race of this nature as well, with the weight that he's getting from his elders, I just thought that Rashabar, putting all of that good field of gold form to good use as well. Some of the hottest races he's contested as well, Rashabar. So 9-2 for the pair of us two about him. We hope that you are joining us, given the form that you're in. But
he was definitely on the short list because it's a massive drop in class for him, isn't it? But we'll have to see. Really what the weather does. I think won't be. Like there's thunderstorms. There's yellow thunderstorm warning Friday and Saturday, and with thunderstorms, sometimes you can get 5 mils or you can get 25. So we don't really know what's happening. So it'll be interesting to see what comes. If it does come, I think certain lad will run. That's what Jack Channon said, and he'd probably be one of the pace angles in there, along with Bolster, who'll probably push forward, and Age and Wisdom as well. Just on kind of peak performances, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't think there was loads between these. At their very, very best, and I think Enfajar is absolutely the horse to beat, but maybe 5-2 is a little bit skinny enough, and I just thought Maidan was a little bit overlooked in the market now. I'm maybe kind of going down the wrong kind of rabbit hole here, because I think 7 of the last 10 winners of this race have been won by favourites or joint favourites, so it usually is a race that goes to one of the fancied runners. But this is his run at Royal Ascot earlier in the season. He was obviously in behind Enfajar, but the early part of the race wasn't good, even though he jumped well and got into a good position. He was reined back in the race. Not a lot of horses were coming from off the speed. And then you can just see here now, once he's finally getting into top gear, he just runs into a dead end. And, you know, I don't think that's a positive for such a big horse like him. What is a positive, though, is the long straight at Newbury, because it'll give Kieran Schumacher plenty of time to get him into top gear. Just look at him here now. Harry Davis is just sitting there, can't go anywhere, and I think just looking at the sectional data, I think he was just getting into top stride, and the fact that he was still on the bridle in amongst traffic 3 out wasn't good for him. I think Kieran Schumacher will need to be getting him and getting the revs up 3 out at Newbury on Saturday. If he does that, I do think he's overpriced, because going back through his sectional data, you know, he is kind of good enough and quick enough to give these a race. But like I say, Enfajar is absolutely the horse to beat. But I just thought at the prices, Maidan was the one for me. So Maidan can hopefully win at Newbury.
Yeah, it's a bit skinny of a price for you, isn't it? 9-1. That's basically odds on for you at this point. Yeah, Maidan, though, does look overpriced at 9-1, but all of us taking on the favourite. For all that we respect him, but every horse has its price, and probably just on the skinny side there at 5-2. Do let us know your own selection in the comments section below. Now we move on to the 225 at Newbury, the Back the Super Boost at BetVictor handicap. 3-year-olds and over 2 mile 1. Now, Kyla Vlokaush was third in this last year, sent off as favourite. Wild Waves, though, it is who heads the betting at 2-1. So it's probably only fair, Sam, you get to go first again in your own sponsored race.
Go on, Sam. Spending the big bucks this week.
Yeah, clearly it's where all my wages are going. Wild Waves, on the Super Boost, we'll have one later in the show that I'll exclusively reveal, but it's not going to come in this race, which is a shame, because I actually really like the favourite here, and I'd love to Super Boost Wild Waves, because I think that run at Ascot behind Sober, when horse was third, Gordon Elliott's horse in second, I thought that was a really good effort, going up significantly in trip, and just been a horse that I think has always kind of needed a bit further, looking through the profile of the horse, and obviously went to Italy and that didn't quite work out over a slightly shorter distance, but been knocking on the door, and there was a big performance this day. I definitely think you go back through last season's form, good to firm ground is what we're going to want to see, so I don't want to see too much rain. I just wondered if the run style of the horse could be a bit concerning here, because it does like to sort of let things happen in front and pick up late, and I don't want to see the horse get too far behind, but a smaller field here, I think that'll help, and I just feel like Andrew Balding's got 2 in here, but this horse really, for me, should be taking a race of this nature now. Back to what, 2 miles plus is definitely where you're going to see him to best effect. And there's plenty of back form from last year to suggest that this mark is exploitable. James Doyle on board today. 2-1, yeah, it's short, but I just couldn't find anything else in the race that I really fancied.
He's absolutely chucked in on that run in the Ledger, isn't he? But I've been a bit, given how good that run was in terms of figures, like he's very well handicapped, but just been bit disappointing with him, and you just wonder, was it a bit of a flash in the pan? And at the time I kind of was thinking, it might have been a weak Ledger because he was so close up, but then obviously Jan Bruegel's kind of proves I was talking nonsense there.
No, but 2-1 heading the way here, like you say, the actual form that he has is, I mean, it's the best, isn't it? It's the ones to beat for sure, but at 2-1, Dec, I'm getting the sense that you're going to take him on though.
Yeah, I'm going to take him on at the prices, but like I say, he's that run in the Ledger does see him very well handicapped. But the Stevenson, we thought there'd be a bit of pace on there. I don't see a lot of pace on here. I really don't. I think maybe Al Muhit will go forward. Artistic Star will go forward as well. But didn't see a lot of pace on. That would also worry me with Wild Waves because he's a proper hold-up horse and he wears a hood for all. This isn't going to be a big field, so he's not going to get too far out of his ground. But, going back on some of his 3-year-old form as well, Artistic Star, now a 5-year-old, he's also well handicapped. And, we shouldn't forget this horse was considered good enough to run in a derby. He actually ran in a Gus Rodden's derby, and, obviously that was just too much too soon for him. And you look at his 3-year-old career, it was going to be very hard for him because he's actually a very late May foal. I think he was foaled on the 27th of May, and that is late. So physically, it felt like he was probably always playing catch-up. But, this is another good run at Royal Ascot and the King Edward the 7th. We've got King of Steel there. He was quite a useful horse, wasn't he? And then we've got Continuous in second with the big white face. He subsequently went on to win a Ledger. So, this form has really worked out. Now, this was a really tactically run race, and I think Artistic Star probably had the run of it, so he was maybe even a little bit flattered to get as close to this. But, he's dropped down in the weights, and I was looking forward to his 4-year-old season, and it started really well last year in the Gordon Richards at Sandown, but then something went amiss, and we didn't see him for a long time, and he struggled to put runs together. But this season he's put 2 good runs together. He actually finished ahead of Wild Waves at Newmarket, and then last time out at Royal Ascot, just over that the 2.5 mile trip, he just clearly didn't stay it. I think coming back down to 2 miles is going to suit him. He's a well-bred son of Galileo. Like I say, like the favourite Wild Waves, he's well handicapped on previous form. But unlike Wild Waves, who's going to be closing from off the pace, I can see Ross O'Ryan getting the run of things on the front end, and I'm hoping he'll make that count.
I just like the fact that their birthdays, their weights, their star signs as well. Therefore, you're really getting to know these horses properly on another level.
You literally try and do anything to back a winner.
Yeah, exactly that. But a late fall than Artistic Star, so perhaps he is just coming to the boil. Yeah, we were just looking at a VT from 2 years ago?
It was just like on that form, he's well handicapped, but everything about him suggested he was going to have a 4-year-old campaign, and then something clearly went amiss. But encouraging, he's put runs together so far this season, so hopefully he's ready to peak.
Making up for lost time then, Artistic Star at 7-1. Disagreement all over. I am with the outsider of the field here at 25-1, Scottish Anthem. So I'm trying to beat you. But I'm glad that we look back actually at your VT, Sam, for your selection, because Scottish Anthem actually featured in that behind Wild Waves. He was flagged up, but we're going to look at him. We love a dual purpose performer.
He can't get enough of the jumps.
We love a dual purpose performer. We're looking at him at Uttoxeter here, finishing second to a really well-backed favourite who went on to win, who was obviously well in on the day as such. This was a novice's hurdle though, but Scottish Anthem, the key to him was getting him just to relax and to be able to breathe, because on his hurdling debut he just failed to breathe. His wind was really catching him out. He absolutely loved it this day. He was jumping beautifully throughout, so he's definitely got a future over obstacles and over hurdles now that he is just learning. But Michael Keedy, who is his trainer now, who's a trainer I have an awful lot of time for, they've really been working on this horse, just getting him to relax, getting him into a rhythm, and just to be able to breathe, because that's really been a crux of his. But last time out, we saw that from him. And I actually like the angle of him coming back to the flat now and over 2.5 miles a furlong as well, because on his penultimate start, as we saw, in the Queen Alexandra Stakes was over 2 miles, 5.5 furlongs. That was just too far for him. He didn't see out the trip. 2 miles over hurdles last time out was probably a bit too short, as we were just seeing. So now, hopefully, he's hitting that sweet spot back on the flat after being able to relax. I still think there's more to come from this horse. And also, he was the trend source for the race as well. So at 25-1, I just thought he was well worth a punt.
Jumpers have done well in this contest, haven't they? Willie Mullins won at a Stratum, somebody else.
There's been 7 renewals, and I think dual purpose or jumps trainers have won 5 of the 7.
Oh,
just
there you
looking
go.
back at it, yeah.
Well, I need to.
Yeah,
didn't even have that for my own case.
Yeah, so that definitely is interesting. Yeah, I thought given the money that was on offer, really kind of disappointing kind of turnout. You know, the winner's getting over 41 grand here, and you know, Ian Williams, I think, has actually won 2 of the last 7 renewals. He's got a horse in here as well, isn't he? So, yeah, a little bit disappointing given the turnout, and because remember that was the first Willie Mullins won the inaugural running of it, and maybe they just thought he was going to farm everything. So.
Exactly, and he could do if he really wanted to. But yeah, apparently he wants more money from you, Sam, to be able to send more runners there. But nice prize money put on all the same. Then looking forward to that bit of a marathon test. Do let us know again in the comment section below who you fancy whilst you're there. Also, hit subscribe and the bell notification so you never miss an episode. On to the 2:57 now at Newbury, the Group 3 Hackwood Stakes. 3-year-olds and over 6 furlongs. Right, lads, these lot. Now, I'm going to kick us off. I'm just going to take the hit first and foremost with this race because we've got another group sprint race. Who knows? And after last weekend with the July Cup, genuinely, who has a clue? And you start to go through this race and you can just find faults with everyone. The market, I swear, has just been priced up via default more so than anything else. So this has just been an absolute nightmare. And just when you think you might slightly have an angle, another group race comes along and just throws confusion straight away into the mix all over again. Hence why went around the houses for this race. And somehow, I'll take pelters for this, came back on elite status. And 7-2, oh, it's getting skinny, isn't it?
Unbeaten at the track, to be fair.
I know, 2 from 2 at the track, but his issues just starting to catch up with him? I don't know. We saw in his last 2 seasons, his form started to tail off towards the back end, but he hasn't really started all that well this season either. So you're kind of thinking, is he doing a topsy-turvy way about his seasons nowadays? I don't know. But anyway, we're going to look back at him in this race last year, of course, winning over this course and distance. And it looked strong form as well, because eventually in second was Lake Forest. He finished second in the Commonwealth Cup prior. Kind of Blue, who finishes third here, finished fourth in the Commonwealth Cup. Regional, who reopposes and is favourite for this year's renewal, finished back in fourth. So what I thought about Regional at the head of the market, I really like Regional. He's super consistent, but he's the kind of horse you want for a bigger price each way play, really, more so than anything else. And you just thought, well, why is Regional going to be able to reverse that form this time round? Yes, he's consistent, he's going to run his race, but if elite status is back to his best, then we know that he's got the beating of Regional, and he's got the beating of most of these at his best, but that is the big if that you're having to ask. So it is just the fact he's back at his beloved Newbury in this race again, and something's got to win it, basically. I kept telling myself, something's surely got to win this race. I don't know what, but I'm hoping it's elite status, so hopefully one of you two will have a better idea. Dec, go on, you're the sprint king at the minute.
Yeah. I think Kate wrote into our WhatsApp group, God help me. So, yeah, look, I don't know what God's people that watch the show kind of prescribe to, be it Allah or Jesus or the Dalai Lama or who, but we're going to need the help of all of them, I think, to back the winner.
And they still landed me on elite status, the gods, when I threw it out there to them.
I was the same as you, but the one thing I do know about this race is it's going to be run at a strong tempo because there's plenty of pace on here. But like, Regional, maybe is he a little bit better over 5. Elite status hasn't raised a leg in 4 runs. Giraffe disappointing last time out. First time blinkers. Poor Kind of Blue looks gone at the game. Diligent Harry has a right chance, although he hasn't won on turf, but he's got a penalty to carry, and you just keep going further and further down. And look, given there was loads of pace on here and there's rain in the forecast, I'm having a big swing again in a six furlong group race. But Russet Gold, I thought was interesting for Roger Very, and now he started his season poorly at Salisbury, but then last time, about 3 weeks ago at the Curragh, he did improve his run, and I thought it was a good little run considering he raced up against the stand-side rail without any cover. And it's just interesting that they're reaching for first-time blinkers, given the Varian team are in good order. So look, Jarraf was he third in the betting there? Mm-hmm. This is the two of them running at Ascot last season. I think was it the Bengough Stakes? Can't remember exactly.
In October.
Exactly, but there's not an awful lot between them there. And Jarraf, you know, he comes here in the back of a disappointing run, but there's not an awful lot between them. And I just think this race could set up really well for Russet Gold. Callum Shepherd's going to take the ride, and you know, while I'm not saying Callum is getting himself into the elite kind of jockey band, I do think he is a really improving jockey. He gets horses to run for them, so the Varian team in good order. Going to take a wild swing. Look at 50s, you can. If you ran third, I would be absolutely delighted. And if it just happened to be that they get masses of rains during the thunderstorms, that will suit him.
Okay, I'm going to try and get a time-stamped price for you.
50 to 1 right now.
It's 50 to 1.
I think BetVictor actually standout price as well. So
there you go.
Go on, the Victor.
Nicely teed you up as well.
Cut it now.
yeah, exactly. Quickly get slicing there, but 50 to 1 shot for Dec, Sam.
Yeah. Again, I'm quite glad we don't sponsor the Hackwood, because I can turn around and say what a horrible race this is to try and work out. I can't be unpolite about anything we sponsor, can I? But regional at 9 to 4, you know, standard setter maybe, but it probably has to be taken on. And there were two horses that I kind of just like the idea of backing them, perhaps more than I will invest significantly on them. Cardem, what a great horse he's been for Charlie Hills, but again, seasonal return. He's got a mixed record. You could argue that when he was in his younger days, it was probably better on reappearance. He's entitled to need the run, and there's plenty of possible targets down the line for him. And the other one, which I've come round to backing, perhaps not for this race, but Clipper Logistics run King's Gamble here. He returns after nearly a year off. Rafe Beckett trains him, and if you go back through the form, he's gone well fresh in the past, winning on debut and then last year finishing second, and he's got bits and pieces to suggest that he could be a quality animal. Behind Lead Artist at Goodwood, that wasn't too bad a defeat, and you look at what Lead Artist has done since. There's bits and pieces, but more interestingly, he's entered in the Clipper Logistic race at York over a mile later into August. Now, I just wonder, I've probably talked myself out of backing him significantly, but I'll have a small each-way wager on him in the hope that he's going to at least make the frame to step forward towards that York race. So he's on my radar for that. But in a field where you've got question marks about so many of them, I kind of Blue was the other that I thought, do I go once more to the well and forgive him? No, I'm not at 8 to 1. So I'll have a small each way play on King's Gamble, but with a mind to York probably.
Go down and have a look at him. You're there on Saturday,
yes.
aren't you? I had my notes again that Rafe Beckett said he is an absolute giant of a horse.
He's going to need it, Dec. It's what you're telling me. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how fit he has him first time out, but it seems like you're half putting up an anti-post bet there.
Well, yeah. I couldn't find a price, sadly, but yeah, I think just. Yeah, this is difficult, put it that way.
Yeah. See how he shapes, see how he gets on with an eye then potentially. I'm pleased that you've put him up though, because he was a horse I kept going back to look into to see if I could make a case for. And I actually missed that entry there for his owners at York later on in the season. But at 20 to 1 though.
And given they've sold an awful lot of their horses, Clipper Logistics, the last couple of seasons, interesting that they've kept him.
Yep.
Yeah, very, very interesting. And a 20 to 1 shot as well. Right, I'll leave you two with the big plays in for that. And I'm with Elite Status second favourite. Oh my goodness. Right, again, do let us know how you sold the Hackwood in the comments section below. As we move on to a really easy race, the Super Sprint. It just keeps coming at us this weekend. The 3:30 for the 2-year-olds over 5 furlongs. So Havana Hurricane, a short price favourite, now at 6 to 4 to be fair, following his Windsor Castle win for Eve Johnson-Horton and Charlie Bishop, Dec. But 2-year-olds.
Yeah, absolutely the horse to beat, no doubt about it. You know, what he did in his final furlong at Royal Ascot was hugely impressive. You know, the further he went, the better he looked. So I was just wondering, potentially, does that mean the flatter track at Newbury, you know, just could it mean that you might, I'm sure you might get a bigger price about him in running, but if he's going to win him, he might not win in the same kind of style. He might get there very late, but he absolutely is the horse to beat, no doubt about it. But it's interesting. I think we have to go back quite a while. There hasn't been one in the last 10 years of a horse winning this race drawn in a single figure stall. And he is drawn in 9. So that's another way to potentially, or that's another thing just to keep in mind. But just looking at the pace of the race, I thought middle to high was absolutely where you wanted to be. And I think statistically in this race, that's where you want to be, looking at the stats guides on at theraces.com. Paul Jones did this race for us. But I do think the Havana Hurricane form line is the one to be with. But I just don't get why Kama Chameleon is 20-1 and Havana Hurricane is 6-4. Now, look, do not get me wrong, he absolutely did beat him. He beat him stiff at Royal Ascot. But look, it's a different day. It's a different track. Things can change. And you can see Kama Chameleon there. He's got the sheepskin noseband just in behind the pace there. Didn't get the cleanest of runs there. But he also runs on pretty well. Now, he doesn't run on as well as the winner late. Watch what the winner does here. Absolutely takes off in the final furlong. And, he was value for more. But Kama Chameleon ran a cracker here now. And I just hope the first-time blinkers that he had on this day kind of had the similar effect. But it was just interesting going back through the data and going back through the top speed. He actually had a higher top speed in the race than Havana Hurricane, which is interesting. So I'm thinking the flat track could actually suit him more than the Fav. The other thing that I thought was interesting, when he's by Camico, but his dam was actually group placed as a 2-year-old, Group 3 place. So he's bred to be pretty decent. Now, whether or not he's going to train on and be very good at 3, we'll have to see. But he is bred to be a nice horse. And I just did not get the massive price discrepancy there. I thought Kama Chameleon was more a 10 shot. So given he's well drawn, the Dylan Cunha team are absolutely flying. The old Biltong boys, they're going really well, the South Africans. I just thought at 20-1, that was a cracking each way bet. And I'll probably have a couple of look at some markets without Havana Hurricane as well. So that's how I'm going to play it.
He's in the wrong silks, though, isn't he? In the white, gold and green. Just doesn't quite hit the same for Kama Chameleon here. 20-1 shot, though, all the same for Dec, Sam. Who do you like? Poor joke. Poor attempt at a joke.
Was that a joke? I was wondering what was going on. I was like, I'm so
your face, you're looking around.
I was going to say stable form comes and goes.
I was trying to think of the Cunha horse that won the Brocklesby or something. I was like, was it something to do with that?
Oh, no, it's far more simplistic reference than that. Don't complicate my humour.
I apologise.
There you go, Sam. Hopefully you got it. No red, gold and green for Kama Chameleon,
no.
But 20-1 shot for Dec all the same.
I was going to say stable form comes and goes, but Dylan is really good.
Are you getting it now? Is it clicking?
There we go.
We need to take him to karaoke. Right.
Oh, God.
Dec's not left me a lot to say because I completely agree in terms of a pricing angle. It's just the wrong price, isn't it? 20-1. You can get extra places each way. It just seems a bit odd. And listen, the favourite warrants huge respect. If you like the favourite, by the way, I can reveal. I can't tell what the price will be because it will probably move by the time we put it out. But Havana Hurricane is going to be our super boost. That'll be available on the BetVictor site from 9 a.m. So if you like the favourite, you'll get a juicier price there. But you do need a bit of luck in these, don't you? And his trainer's not had the most luck when she's had runners in this race because it shows how competitive it is. And also, anything can happen over 5. And, the draw Dec's alluded to as well. All right, they're not miles apart, are they? But the single-digit draw is definitely a negative. I kind of just felt at the prices, Kama Chameleon was just the one that had a little bit of juice in the price each way. I think the favourite's a very good horse and gets a clear run, probably wins. But we'll play that each way. I think that's a fair enough go, isn't it, at 20s?
There you go, yeah, 20-1 for the pair of you to back Kama Chameleon. We've got one angle at least anyway to interest people into this race. Well, many angles all the same, but Havana Hurricane 6-4, them in the outright market heading the way. I'm not as original as you two, but I'm also taking on those at the head of the market. We're talking about Super Sprint here, over 5 furlongs. As you just said there, Sam, you know that you need luck in running. Was it Chipotle for Eve Johnson
15 to 8 Fav.
Yeah, exactly.
He also won the Windsor Castle, didn't he, I think?
Ooh, good shout. He won something prior to it anyway. Yeah, something very good. But then you get like a relief rally who is a short price and runs up to that form. Exactly, justifies it then. But Havana Hurricane, I still just don't want to part of my cash at that price. Could well prove to be the best source. But Rakeb, for me, it was at 14-1, where when I look at this race, always the angle I want to side with is experience, battle-hardened profile, and that's something that we get with Rakeb. Now, we're looking back at the Group 2 Coventry Stakes over 6 furlongs on Rakeb's penultimate start. And now, Rakeb was a really big price for this, finished 7th, but was 3rd of 9 in his group on the far side. And it was a huge run at 100 to 1 to be beaten less than 6 lengths, with the winner, Gastard, bolting up by 3 lengths back to the second. So the rest were just all in a bit of a heap. So I don't think it was any disgrace finishing 7th and 3rd in his group overall at 100 to 1. Then last time out, he proved that this run at Royal Ascot was no fluke, ran better again. He finished 5th at 50 to 1 in the Group 2 Superlative Stakes behind Saba Desert. So he is back in trip here from 7 furlongs to 5. Bit of a concern. Quick turnaround as well for him, but he's in form. He's down in grade. Hopefully will have experience put to good use, and also has proven that those last 2 runs were no fluke by any means.
And the trainer's got a good record in the race.
Loves it, doesn't he, Richard Hannon?
Exactly.
How many winners he had? He throws plenty of darts, doesn't he?
It's a good thing you asked. The Hannon Yard have won this 11 times, including 4 for Richard Hannon Jr. I mean, just again, off the top of my head.
Does throw plenty of runners at it as well. He's got a few in there, hasn't he? And, you know, fair play, because this is a great little prize, and it's a very clever initiative that it's good to see lots of trainers getting involved in.
Oh, exactly.
It's a chameleon gag. I was hoping she'd go for Ali Shuffle and give us a little rendition there ahead of the box on Saturday.
Don't try and come back now onto my joke wavelength there after leaving me out to dry at that point.
I didn't forecast with Irish fighter, Richard.
Yeah, there you go.
You're a lover, not a
Very
fighter.
good,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, looking forward to the boxing on Saturday night.
I didn't leave Kate hanging. I just went completely over my head.
Went rope-a-dope basically on that point. But really looking forward to the Super Sprint. Again, do let us know in the comments section below who you fancy for that super competitive 2-year-old sprint. Up next, our best bets of the weekend. As promised, our best bets of the weekend. And of course, we've got to go to Declan Rix first. Rix, you're up.
Do we?
Yeah, come on. More winners, please.
More winners.
Yeah, no pressure, but please.
Well, technically, I'm allowed 65 losers in a row before you can say anything now, but we digress as ever.
I will keep tabs.
We'll keep tabs, yeah. Right, the nap is going to go in the Steventon Stakes this week, but it's going to be without the favourite Enfachar. Now, BetVictor haven't got it priced up, but I have seen 13 to 2 around with some other firms. But do wait for BetVictor.
We'll get it
price
up for you, Rexy, don't worry.
I thought Maidan was a really good bet without the fab. I don't think there's an awful lot between a lot of those horses in there. He's shaped like a horse who's been in really good form this season. He was unlucky with his run late last time out at Royal Ascot. Change of jockey, change of course, I think will help, especially that long straight at Newbury. Then the next best, we're going to stick with Newbury. We're going to stay with the stayers here, and Artistic Star, I just think is overpriced in a race. He could get the run of things. Really handicapped on his old 3-year-old form. The 4-year-old season didn't go well, but it's encouraging that he's been putting runs together as a 5-year-old this season. I don't think he'll have any bother with this step up in trip to 2 miles. I think that will actually improve him. And then the long shot this week is going to be, it has to be Chameleon in the Super Sprint. I just think 20 to 1 is all wrong, especially with our friends at BetVictor paying 4 places. If the Fab does get in a little bit of trouble, that is the same form line, and I just think it's really interesting. He hit a higher top speed on a stiff track at Ascot last time out. I think the flat track at Newbury will really suit. So good luck.
And at 20 to 1 as well, then for Chameleon, we know that some will be in agreement about him in terms of the race itself. Does he make your best bets though?
He does, Kate. We'll come to him in my long shot, because quite obviously that's the only place you can put him really at 20 to 1. Should we kick off with my nap? Because I'm going summer jumping. Look at Declan's face, look at pulled at me. Because Market Rasen's card's not bad, is it? And we've got the plate itself, which I think is always a cracking race to watch, and good betting heat. Sure touch for me for Ollie Murphy. Comes back here. He's £1 lower than when he won it 12 months ago. That day he had Harry Cobden on board. We've got Sean Bowen back, so it's not exactly a bad thing. It looks like a real tussle at the top of the betting between that horse and the horse that Cobden's booked to ride for Gavin Cromwell, who could be anything. Paul Byrne Silks, we saw some money in the week for that when we had the anti-post market. But I'm convinced that Ollie Murphy's horse is the one to be with here. Ollie ticking over nicely, and I think we'll have a big season when we get round to the jumping. But we'll save that for a bit later on, shan't we? Let's get back to the flat quick before Declan murders me. We're going to talk about Rashabar in the St Stephen's Stakes. I just think this horse, the more I look at this race, the more I think a 3-year-old can buck those recent historical trends of seeing older horses win. Just because I've got the feeling to my mind that he's this kind of class, if he's going to win a race this season, it's going to be this, something like this. So let's see how he goes. Fingers crossed he gets the trip, and I think plenty to suggest about the pace that he will. And my long shot, I'm going to join Declan in the Boy George fan club and go with Chameleon at 20 to 1. just like Declan said, really, you've got to look at the price and just think, do I see him making the frame? Yes. If the favourite doesn't win, I think he's going to be bang there and thereabouts. And I kind of just felt 20s was too big. I mean, it's a tricky race, a Super Sprint, but we'll cheer him on each way 4 places.
Do you get the reference now? We've given you every possible clue.
Yes, yeah, but like I was saying, I'm more of a Lincoln Park man than a Boy George. So.
Definitely so. Well, best of luck to the pair of you two then with Karma Chameleon. I'm also going summer jumping for 2 of my best bets of the weekend as well, just to make him doubly sick here. But my nap is actually going to be Castle Gandolfo in the summer hurdle. Now, this is over 2.5 miles a furlong, comes up at 2.40 at Market Rasen. Just look at my prices this weekend. I'm calling this my each way windy weekend is very much the way, but Castle Gandolfo though, Market Rasen, their big day in the sun. 2 of the feature races, the summer hurdle being one of those, in which Castle Gandolfo bidding to win the race again this year after winning this race off a £5 lower mark last year. Now he's actually a £5 higher this time around after he won the trial race for this contest last time out, whereas he was 3rd in it last year, so that's what the difference has been. But I don't know if it's a good thing or not, because technically he's coming here in better form than last year, but also he has got that rise to have to defy. But on previous form, he still looks up to defying it at 7-1. I thought that was a chance worth taking. Scottish Anthem, spoke about him earlier on in the 2-mile 1 handicap. Fascinated to see him back on the flat again, enjoying his start over hurdles last time out. Actually ran right up to his mark in the Queen Alexandra Stakes when just not seeing out the trip. So last time out, relaxed much better, knew what he was doing, and he needed further than the 2 miles he was getting over hurdles that day anyway. And then Vintage Fizz at 11-1, actually shorter than I was expecting or hoping for, to be honest. So I'm going to take it as a positive for the summer plate. Again, he was the trend source here. He ran really well in the trial for the summer plate over the same course and distance last time out. Finished second to the flyer Begley, who I actually think also has a really big chance in the race. He is now a 10-year-old though, the flyer Begley. So that's going to put him at a little bit of a disadvantage according to the trends. But Vintage Fizz runs right up to them. Hopefully he's ridden in his usual way. This race tends to go to hold-up performers and back at a track that he loves so much. I'm hoping that Vintage Fizz can come to the fore. So there's some summer jumping for you to get stuck in.
They allow you that
well.
just because Aidan O'Brien once upon a time trained a horse called Castle Gandolfo. So there we go.
Was it him?
You allowed that.
Haven't gone back that far.
No. This, I don't think this Castle Gandolfo.
No, I don't think
we're going back quite a while. Yeah.
I don't think he's a bit of a hero, a bit of a legend, but I don't think he. Yeah, they were the start of his life.
I think that actually might have been like High Chaparral days, but anyway, we'll have a look at that when we get.
There you go. You're going to go to be. No, this one did used to be trained by Aidan O'Brien.
Oh, it's the same
Again,
one.
I plucked that from my brain out of nowhere.
You used to give him a little pat.
No.
Who knew?
No, if he's. I'm assuming he's probably, 9 or 10-year-old?
But yes, he would be older now. I think it's about 8 or 9, yeah. There you go. Right, find out his weight, his star sign and his birthday, and then you'll have his
restraining order put on your deck.
Yeah, exactly. Against Castle Gandolfo. Who would have thought we'd get to that point of this show? Well, we're reaching out for that for Rixie. But anyway, lads, chaos as always. Thank you so much to the pair of you two for all of your time and hard work as usual. A big thank you to you for watching. Best of luck with your bets this weekend, and we'll be back at the same time next Friday to preview the pick of the weekend action, including the King George at Ascot.